Hello, my dear, and welcome to our 5 minutes with Ekaterina vlog about Dnipro, the central Ukraine. And I again haven't done videos in a while, and I know that I should be more consistent, but it was mentally pretty difficult to talk because we had a very big explosion, very big rocket attack in Dnipro, and it was a few days when Russians were attacking us every day. And one of the attacks resulted in hitting the residential building. The whole top floor of the building was destroyed and people inside were killed. And it happened around 5 o'clock in the morning, when people were still sleeping. And it also happened near the bus stop and near the place where basically subway goes up, and if it happened 2 hours later, there would be much more damage and many more people would die because people would start to go to work, and it's one of the important places in Dnipro from where everybody is commuting. Also, it's not far from the train station, and probably the target was the train station itself. And our train station is working at night. It's transporting people, mostly civilians, and they were targeting the civilian object, but they explained that they're saying that, oh, we need to destroy the railway in Ukraine. Also, at the same moment, they hit again the bus station, and I've already told you about the bus station, and they already hit it last year. This year, the damage was also pretty significant because there were buses operating, and it's again pretty much by chance that people were not killed there because it was a moment where no buses were arriving or departing because it was still a little bit after the curfew, and people cannot leave their homes before 5 o'clock, and it was exactly at 5 o'clock, so people didn't have enough time to reach this point from where they would start commuting. And mentally, it was very difficult. People are very depressed, and everybody is very scared because you don't know which residential building will be next. And right before this, I was talking to my friend, and he recently moved to another apartment, and I was saying, like, your place is not safe because you have a lot of hospitals around, and Russians are targeting hospitals. And I was saying my place is very safe because I live there and there, and there's nothing around. And few days after it, there was a big bombing, and one of the bombs arrived not far from my home, and my student who is 11 years old only, she went to some kind of extra classes, after school classes nearby, and she saw the explosion herself, which is literally in walking distance from where we live. And she lives not far from me. And again, it was pretty mentally difficult, and just talking to people, trying to support each other, thinking about what might have happened, about people who died as a result of these attacks, and also thinking that you have multiple sirens, multiple air alerts every day, and it can be 6 hours, it can be 8 hours total, and it can be the siren for 10 minutes, then it will be 10 minutes without siren, and then will be again siren, or there might be explosion before siren starts, and you don't know what's happening, and you're pretty worried for your life, for the lives of your beloved ones, and it's something that you go to bed and you don't know if everybody is going to wake up in the morning, if your house will be destroyed or not. And that's why I had to deal with my psychological situation, and I didn't talk to you. And now, when I finally decided that I have to record this video, just yesterday there was the big bombing in Odessa, and I love Odessa. I've been there multiple times. It's a very nice city. And people were just minding their business. People were just working. And there's a university building. It's not a teaching building, not academic building, but more like a big university club. And they just hit it with the rocket. There's nothing military there. And moreover, they hit it with the cassette rockets, and they were like cassette rockets. It means that it has like multiple explosives, like this size, and in each one they have like small cubes, like small metals, which are spreading around, killing people. So they were targeting specifically civilians, and they hit this building because it's on the sea embankment, and a lot of people would just walk by. They hit it during the day, and people died this way, and it's terrible. Two teenagers died this way, among other people. And they don't show you these terrible images, but they showed the image of the dog, which also was killed with this shell of this cassette bomb. And the owner who was just crying over it, she was walking the dog on the legs, and it just hit the dog and not her. And it's like, it's heartbreaking when you see it, and you think that it might be you and it might be your dog, and all these people who died, and that's very terrible, and that's what Russians are doing every day. And some people tell me that I should rejoice because the Americans passed the 61 million bill or billion bill, and this will come to Ukraine to save this day. But we need to remember that only from between 14 and 16 billion will go to the military aid, and everything else is yet waits to be allocated, and we don't know if it comes or not, because it's not allocated to specific things. And also, last summer, we also need to remember that last summer we had the similar promises. And 2 weeks ago, they said that actually last summer they did not send us what they promised, despite they were saying like no, Ukrainian army is worthless, and they did not know what to do with weapons we supplied. But now they say no, actually last summer we did not send anything. We did not send essential weapons. We sent something, but not essential weapons. So that means that there are no guarantees that this weapon will be in Ukraine anytime soon. And meanwhile, Russians started the operation, and Russians started to move along the front line. They already captured a few villages, and they're kind of taking more and more and more territories every day. A few days ago, when they were capturing Ocheretine, there was a reporting that a woman who is older than 80 years, I think 82 years old, and she walked 10 kilometers. She fell twice, and she fell asleep, and she was falling because she's so old. She was using like two sticks, and after 10 kilometers, she was noticed by our army, and she was rescued, but she did not want to live under Russian occupation. And that's how bad it is now. And the Cheretine is a village in the Donetsk region where everybody thinks that it's a pro-Russian area, but it's not. Like disabled people, old people, they try to evacuate, they try to escape this kind of Russian invasion. And regretfully, Russia now has a lot of advances as a front line. Unless they do something fast, unless we have all these weapons fast enough, we cannot gain the situation, we cannot stabilize the situation. And also these bombings are coming closer to Dnipro, and that's something that I'm crazily worried about, because the places that were not shelled before around the city, they are now shelled, and that means that the front line moved, and we are in more danger now, like immediately in my city, people are in more danger now. And also, you know, when I'm talking to you, I always say that you can do something, you can always help, and I'm more convinced now about it because yesterday I saw that Tucker Carlson, and my friend said, "Do you watch Tucker Carlson?" No, not habitually, but the Russian ideologist Dugin, he was talking to Tucker Carlson, and they were discussing the Russian idea. And Russians pose themselves as a missionary nation that are meant to save the universe, and they oppose themselves to the Western liberalism, which they say that it's not a liberalism, it's not the freedom, and they try to show that the Western society is totalitarian and the Russian society is perfect, it's organized, and it keeps people together and protects traditional values. Obviously, it's a lie, and if you watched the video, and if you're watching my channel, probably you would think about it as about nonsense. But the problem is that many people believe it, and I think that's something that every person, each of us can do, is just to talk to our friends, just to explain that it's not true and that Russia only brings destruction and Russia brings death and they just kill people when they can, and that's a part of their strategy. If you disagree with them, they will just kill or arrest you. And if you agree with them, that will be a totally different world. You will be just the part of this mechanism that tries to suppress everything. And I was pretty amazed that this Dugin, he thinks that we need to fight AI, we need to fight modern technologies, we need to fight freedom, because that's not traditional and that's so dangerous. So basically, Russia now is getting more and more dangerous, not only to Ukraine, but to everybody else. And in the same speech, Stoltenberg, this NATO leader, he said that we are in the beginning of the Third World War. And for a while, I was thinking about talking how to prepare yourself to the war and what to do in the situation based on my experience of 2014 and of 2022. So I will record a separate video because I'm talking too much every time I want to tell you more. I realize that it's been enough information for this short video, but it will be there soon. I think we all need to think more about what can happen and what we can do as individuals to protect ourselves and to prepare ourselves. So I'm very pessimistic now, and the situation is very dangerous. It's getting worse. It's getting much worse than at the moment I was talking to you before. And all our social media, all Ukrainian social media, they're also very pessimistic. If you see me, I'm not very optimistic, but I'm one probably of the most optimistic people now, looking at what's happening in Ukraine. So this is the moment when we should not relax, when we should not just be happy with this bill, because this bill is only a promise, and we need to make sure that it's sustainable. And we also need to make sure that our friends and neighbors are not pro-Russian, they don't share Russian ideas, because if they do, like next day we might wake up in a totally different environment and in totally different world. Russia is not going to stop in Ukraine, and that's something that this Dugin, who is the ideologist of the Russian aggression, said in his interview to Tucker Carlson. So take care. Thank you for help. Thank you for support. Thank you for checking on us. And I hope to see you very soon under better circumstances. Goodbye for now.